Have you ever caught yourself wondering why pleasure doesn't feel the same as it used to, especially now, after 60? It's not that desire disappears, nor that your body is broken. The truth is simpler. Our bodies change with time, and the ways we once approached self-pleasure may no longer fit the reality of today. Think of it like driving the same road you've traveled for decades. The scenery is familiar, but the pavement has shifted, the signs have faded, and the turns require more attention. If you keep driving the way you did in your 20s, you may miss the beauty, or worse, end up frustrated. But if you slow down, notice the details, and respect the new rhythm, the journey becomes meaningful again. That is what this conversation is about. Rediscovering intimacy with yourself in a way that is safe, nourishing, and surprisingly rewarding. Because masturbation after 60 is not a taboo, nor a weakness. It can be one of the most natural tools for maintaining circulation, emotional balance, and confidence. So in today's story, we won't focus on shame or outdated rules. Instead, we'll uncover the hidden traps many older men fall into and show how to step away from them. And rather than treating these like cold mistakes on a checklist, we'll approach them as turning points, moments where you can choose a healthier, more mindful path. First, we'll look at the subtle habit that quietly drains pleasure and leaves many men unsatisfied. Then, we'll uncover the physical pattern that seems harmless at first, but can reduce sensitivity over time. Finally, we'll open the door to the emotional side, because what you feel inside your heart and mind shapes what your body can experience. By the end, you won't just understand the what not to do. You'll carry with you a fresh perspective, stories of men who faced these challenges, and practical ways to reconnect with your body in a manner that feels dignified, fulfilling, and deeply human. So let's begin, not with fear, not with guilt, but with curiosity. Because this stage of life is not the end of pleasure, it's the beginning of a new, wiser chapter.
Section 1. Why this conversation matters. Now that we've set the stage, let's pause and ask, why does this even matter? After all, some might think, I'm older now, maybe I should just ignore this part of myself. But here's the truth. Ignoring your body's needs doesn't make them disappear. It only builds quiet frustration and sometimes even shame. The reality is, self-pleasure in later life isn't about proving anything. It's not about chasing performance or clinging to youthful patterns. It's about health, dignity, and staying connected to yourself. In fact, when approached with care, this simple act can support circulation, ease stress, improve sleep, and help you feel more at home in your own skin. Think of it this way. As the seasons change, so does the garden. You wouldn't water spring flowers the same way you tend autumn trees. Likewise, your body after 60 requires a gentler, wiser touch. And once you understand that shift, pleasure transforms from a rushed outlet into a nourishing ritual. This is exactly why we need to talk openly. Because too many men keep silent, repeating old routines that no longer serve them, and then wondering why something feels off. But you don't have to keep guessing. You can learn, adapt, and thrive. So let's step deeper into the heart of the matter. In this journey, I'll guide you through 3 turning points, patterns that many men stumble into, often without realizing it. Instead of calling them mistakes, let's see them as invitations. Invitations to slow down, to adjust, and to rediscover pleasure in a new, healthier way. And the first of these invitations, it's all about time. The way you pace yourself could be the very thing standing between frustration and fulfillment.
Act 1. Slowing down. The lost art of presence. Let's start with the first invitation. time. One of the most common habits I've seen in men past 60 is the tendency to rush, not out of laziness, but out of habit. For decades, many of us treated self-pleasure like a quick task done in silence, secrecy, maybe even with a sense of urgency. Get in, get out, and move on with the day. But here's the problem. When you rush, your body never has the chance to feel safe. Think about it. If your mind is racing, your breath is shallow, and your body is half bracing for interruption, how can your nervous system relax? How can your blood vessels open fully, your muscles soften, and your senses awaken? When we stay in that hurried mode, pleasure becomes mechanical. Instead of deep, nourishing sensation, we're left with a sense of incompleteness. Over time, the body even starts associating touch with tension instead of relaxation. And once that pattern sets in, it gets harder and harder to enjoy yourself naturally. Now, here's where my personal reflection comes in. I believe slowing down is more than just a tip. It's a practice of self-respect. When you give yourself time, you're sending your body a clear message. I'm here, I'm safe, I matter. And that small shift, just a few extra minutes, a couple of deeper breaths, can completely change the experience. Think of it like sipping fine tea. If you gulp it down in 2 seconds, you miss the aroma, the warmth, the way it soothes your throat. But when you pause, hold the cup, breathe in the steam, and take slow sips, the tea becomes more than a drink. It becomes comfort. The same is true here. Slowing down isn't about turning self-pleasure into a grand ceremony, unless you want to. It's about creating space where you're not rushed, not distracted, not worried about who might walk in. Just you, your body, and the moment. And the beauty of this? When you take that time, your body responds. The blood flows more freely, the nerves gently wake up, the tissues soften, and suddenly, what once felt dull becomes alive again. So the first invitation is simple. Don't rush. Give yourself permission to take time. And in that time, rediscover the richness of sensation that's been waiting quietly, patiently, all along. Now, once you've slowed down, there's another trap many men fall into. This one, not about speed, but about pressure. And trust me, it's far more common than you think.
Act 2. Pressure. When force works against you. After slowing down, the next invitation is about how much pressure you use. Many men, especially after 50 or 60, start to tighten their grip without even realizing it. Sometimes it's out of habit. Sometimes it's because sensation feels different than it used to, so they instinctively press harder just to feel something. It seems logical in the moment, but over time, this approach does more harm than good. Here's why. The penis isn't designed to endure constant heavy squeezing. It's a structure made of delicate blood vessels, soft, spongy tissue, and highly sensitive nerve endings. When you grip too tightly, you compress those vessels, strain the nerves, and create friction that wears down sensitivity. Slowly but surely, what once felt responsive starts feeling numb. Some men even discover they've trained their bodies into what's jokingly called the death grip, where only that exact intense pressure works and nothing else feels satisfying anymore. The irony? That habit can make intimacy with a partner far less enjoyable because the natural touch of another person just doesn't compare to the artificial pressure you've taught your body to crave. Now let me add a personal reflection. I see this not just as a physical issue, but as a mindset issue. It reflects the old belief that more effort equals more reward. That belief works in the gym or in business, but not here. With your body, force often backfires. What your body really craves at this stage of life is gentleness. Imagine tending to a fragile antique watch. If you wind it too hard, it breaks. But if you handle it with steady, light care, it keeps working beautifully for years. Your body is no different. It needs care, not punishment. So what can you do instead? Start by loosening your grip, even if it feels unusual at first. Give yourself time to re-educate your nerves. Add a simple, fragrance-free lubricant to reduce friction and protect your skin. And most importantly, focus less on finishing and more on the feeling. Breathe deeply, let your muscles relax, and treat this time as a therapeutic massage rather than a rushed task. Yes, it might feel strange at first, like learning to write with your non-dominant hand, but stay patient and your body will adapt. With time, sensitivity returns, arousal feels more natural, and pleasure becomes a full body experience again, rather than a mechanical habit. So, the second invitation is this: lighten your touch. Trust that less can truly mean more. And when you give yourself that gift of gentleness, you'll discover a level of comfort and connection you may not have felt in years. But there's still one more piece we need to address. It has nothing to do with your hands and everything to do with your heart and mind. Because even if your technique is perfect, ignoring the emotional side of self-pleasure can silently undermine everything.
Act 3. Emotions, the hidden key to pleasure. Now we've slowed down, we've softened our touch, but there's a deeper layer left to uncover, and it has nothing to do with how you touch yourself, but rather how you feel about it. For many men, especially those who grew up in stricter times, masturbation was wrapped in silence or even shame. Maybe you were told it was wrong, or maybe you just learned to keep it secret. Decades later, those old beliefs can still whisper in the back of your mind. Add to that the changes that naturally come with aging, slower arousal, differences in appearance, more time needed, and suddenly, the simple act of self-pleasure can trigger doubt, guilt, or even avoidance. Here's the truth: emotions don't vanish just because we ignore them. They sink into the body. They show up in your breath, your muscles, and yes, even in how your blood flows. Over time, carrying that emotional weight can dampen desire, not because your body can't respond, but because your heart doesn't feel safe enough to allow it. Let me share a reflection here. I once spoke to an older gentleman who admitted he had stopped pleasuring himself altogether because every time he tried, he felt foolish. He'd ask, "Why should a man my age still be doing this?" That question alone carried so much judgment. But once he reframed it not as something childish, but as a form of self-care, his whole perspective shifted. He began to see it as a way of honoring his body, keeping his spirit alive, and staying connected to his own vitality. This is why compassion matters. You don't need to perform. You don't need to compare yourself to the past. What you need is presence, patience, and acceptance. And if the emotional weight feels too heavy to carry alone, talking helps, whether to a doctor, a therapist, or even a trusted friend. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength. Think of it this way: if your heart is anxious, your body will always struggle to relax. But when your emotions feel seen and accepted, your body opens up. Pleasure follows naturally, not as a forced act, but as a gentle expression of self-respect. So, the third invitation is this: let go of shame and welcome understanding. Recognize that your body at 60 or 70 is not less than, it's simply different. And when you honor those changes with compassion, you'll find yourself not only enjoying pleasure again, but feeling more whole, more connected, and more at peace with who you are. With these three invitations, slowing down, softening pressure, and embracing compassion, we now have the foundation for a new approach to self-pleasure. But how do you bring it all together into a routine that feels natural, safe, and satisfying? That's exactly where we're heading next. Act 4. A gentle routine for lifelong vitality. We've explored the 3 invitations: slow down, lighten your touch, and honor your emotions. Now let's bring them together into a simple, safe routine that you can actually practice. Think of this not as a checklist, but as a ritual, a small act of self-care that can ground you, nourish you, and reconnect you with your body. Step 1. Create your space. Start by choosing a space that feels calm. Maybe it's your bedroom, maybe a quiet chair in a private corner. The point is, no rushing, no distractions. Silence your phone, close the door, give yourself the gift of uninterrupted time. Just a few minutes set aside for you. Step 2. Settle into presence. Before you even touch yourself, breathe. Deep, slow breaths in and out. Let your shoulders drop, let your chest soften. Tell yourself silently or out loud, I'm safe, I'm here, I matter. You'll be surprised how much more your body opens when your mind feels reassured. Step 3. Protect your skin. Use a simple, natural lubricant, unscented, gentle, nothing harsh. This reduces friction, prevents irritation, and makes the whole experience smoother. Think of it as the difference between walking barefoot on hot pavement versus soft grass. Comfort makes all the difference. Step 4. Explore. Don't rush. Let your touch be light, playful, exploratory. Shift your attention from finishing to simply feeling. Notice how your body responds when you change the pace, the angle, the pressure. And if something feels especially good, linger there. Step 5. Listen to your body. If you feel soreness, irritation, or anything unusual, stop. Your body isn't betraying you, it's sending a message. Pay attention. And if something persists, redness, swelling, discomfort, see your doctor. Caring for yourself includes seeking help when needed. Step 6. End with care. When you're finished, don't jump up and move on right away. Take a moment to rest, breathe, notice how you feel. Maybe you feel lighter, calmer, more grounded. Let that sense of peace stay with you, because pleasure isn't just about the release, it's about the afterglow of connection. To me, this isn't just about sexual health. It's about reclaiming dignity in a stage of life where society often tells men to fade quietly. But why should you? You've earned the right to enjoy your body, to honor it, to keep it alive. This gentle practice is a reminder that you are still here, still worthy, still vibrant. And the beauty is, you can start small, tonight, tomorrow, anytime. No pressure, no performance, just presence. But before we close, there's one last act to this story, tying everything together with the bigger lesson. Because this isn't only about self-pleasure, it's about learning how to treat yourself with the same respect and care you've probably spent a lifetime giving to others.
Act 5. The bigger lesson. Beyond the body. So here we are, at the end of our journey. We've slowed down, we've softened our touch, we've learned to face the emotional shadows. But what does it all mean when we step back and look at the bigger picture? The real lesson is this: pleasure after 60 isn't about performance. It's about presence. Your younger self might have chased speed, intensity, or a kind of proof that you were still a man. But now it's about honoring your body as it is today. And when you do that with patience, with compassion, you discover that pleasure isn't just physical. It becomes emotional, even spiritual. Think of it like tending a fire. In your 20s, the flames burned hot and wild, but with time, the blaze shifts into steady embers, warm, glowing, lasting. You don't throw gasoline on embers. You lean close, add gentle kindling, breathe life into them. That's how you keep the fire alive. And so it is with your body. Let me share a story.
An older man once told me, "For years I thought pleasure was behind me. Then one evening I slowed down, touched myself with patience, and for the first time in decades, I felt not just aroused, but deeply connected to my body, to my memories, to my life. I realized this wasn't about youth, it was about love." That's the lesson I hope you take with you. Not just how to touch, but why to touch. With respect, with curiosity, with gratitude. Because here's the truth. You are not broken. You are not past your prime. You are evolving. And this evolution asks not for shame, but for kindness. Not for speed, but for presence. Not for force, but for gentleness. So the next time you give yourself that gift of attention, remember it's not just about release. It's about saying, "I deserve care. I deserve peace. I deserve joy." And my friend, you truly do. So if this message resonated with you, don't let it end here. Share it with someone who might need the reminder. Leave a comment, join the conversation, or simply carry this lesson into your own life. And if you'd like more honest, respectful talks about men's health and vitality, make sure to subscribe, because your body, your pleasure, and your confidence are worth protecting at every age. Until next time, stay curious, stay gentle, and take good care of yourself.